Hi, I'm Chef AJ from Leiths, and today we've got the most delicious summery dish for you. We're going to be making a pea bruschetta using frozen peas that are always done right when they're at their very best, with some fresh basil and tomatoes. Summer on a plate. Before we start cooking one of these Leiths recipes, we need to do these three things. Number one, if you've got long hair, get a bobble and tie your hair back. If you've got short hair, make sure it's neat and tidy and away from your face. The second thing to do, we need to use plenty of soap and warm water, and you need to give your hands a really good wash for 20 seconds and then give them a good dry with either some blue roll or a towel. Number three, apron. You've got to look like a chef if you want to cook nice chef quality food. Get your apron, put it over your head. If it's a bit long and it's sort of dangling down a bit, you can tighten it with the buckle. And then take these bits and pass them around your side. Like so, bring to the front and then just tie in a bow. Just like that. Let's go. The ingredients for this recipe are peas, some Parmesan cheese, fresh basil, a quarter of a lemon, 2 slices of toast, and 4 cherry tomatoes. In this session, we're going to be learning how to use our math skills to cut these tomatoes into quarters. For this first step, we're going to be picking some leaves of basil and then blitzing those with a stick blender to make a pea puree. Now, stick blender. That's this piece of kit right here. Your teacher's going to be helping you with this, and we're going to be blitzing our peas and basil using a jug like this or jug like this. It doesn't matter, your teacher will choose the best one for you. The first job is we're going to be very carefully put our peas into the jug, like so. Now try and not get any on the floor, but there might be a few escapees in this. Done. And now we're going to pick our basil. And all the leaf can go in. It's really delicious. Big and small. It can all go in like that. And now we're ready to get our stick blender. A little bit of health and safety to think about when using a stick blender. Always keep your fingers away from this end. And make sure that when you start blitzing, whatever you're blitzing, you never turn it on until it's thoroughly in and out of the way of your fingers. So just being careful, again, with that stick blender, we're going to make sure it's in the jug, moving the hand away, and I'm just going to hold the bottom of the jug really firmly. And then pressing the button, we're going to do a couple of up and down motions in order to really break down and chop all these peas and basil, and we're going to do it just like this. I'm really happy with that. So I'm just going to take that out. I'm going to give it a few knocks. Don't want to waste any. And then I'm just going to lay that stick blender to one side, and look, a beautiful, vibrant paste of peas and basil. We want to put our pea paste into this bowl. So I'm just got a fork here to help me, and I'm just going to scrape it all out like that into a bowl. There we go. All nicely chopped. Not too smooth, not too thick. I would say that's just right. This is the greatest moment of this recipe because we're going to be learning how to grate. Now, we need to use a fine grater to grate our Parmesan, and you might have one that looks like this, or you might have one that looks like this. This side for me is the one we're going to be using, so let's get going. First thing, I've got my grater on top of chopping board, and I've got my cheese over here. Now, you want to have one hand on the top of the grater, or maybe yours will have a handle, so you can hold it nice and tightly so it's not moving around. And then I'm going to get my piece of cheese, and I'm just going to slowly move it down the grater like so. Moving down And then any of these little bits that's broken up or fallen off, just pick them up again. Just keep going. Try not to just do this up and down, because you've got a tendency, you might just catch the end of your fingers. So just one nice movement, taking your time and working safely. So if you get any little lumps that sort of fall off like that, you could just pick them up and then put those through the grater as well. But just always taking your time. So there we go, just doing my last piece there. I don't mind a few of these little crumbs. Lift this up, give it a little tap, and there we go, some grated Parmesan. So I'm just going to pop all this back into our bowl from earlier. That also saves on a little bit of washing up if we use the same bowl. I'm always a big fan of. There we go. In this next step, we're going to be using our math skills to chop our tomato. Now, using the bridge hold, we're going to chop this one tomato into 2 halves, and then those 2 halves into 4 quarters. So I've got my 4 tomatoes. I'm going to take one, and this side is the best to have on the board to start with. Stops it rolling around a little bit. And then we're going to use the bridge hold to hold our tomato nice and firmly and safe. And then using the knife, we're going to just very carefully cut our 1 tomato into 2 halves like that. Bridge hold, nice firm grip, using that knife straight through the middle into 2 halves, and then paste that to one side. And we're done with our halves of tomato. Let's go. Get my knife, get one of our cherry tomato halves, and the flat side on the work surface at all times. Bridge hold, and then we're going to cut through just like that. Those 2 quarters now can go in our bowl. We're going to work through every time holding that tomato, bridge hold, cutting that half into quarters. Our last one, bridge hold through, and there's our lovely quarters. And in here, you're going to have to take my word for it, but there's 16 quarters of tomato in there. So we've done all of our big jobs, and now what we're going to do is to bring everything together and give our pea puree a really good mix. We're going to be adding some Parmesan cheese and a good squeeze of lemon, and then we're ready for eating. We're going to add 3/4 of our Parmesan cheese, and the remaining quarter we'll be using later on. So I'm just going to add, just roughly, but I'm going to add my 3/4 of cheese. And we're going to juice 1/4 of 1 lemon. The best way to do this is use your hand as a little sieve. Squeeze the lemon juice into your hand, like so. And what that does is catch the seeds. Little shake of the hand, all that lemon juice is now in our pea mix. Now we're just going to give this a really good mix with our fork. Round and round. A good mix. For this final step, we're going to bring our bruschetta together. I'm going to put a piece of toast on each of our plates. That's forming the base. And then we're going to get our pea puree, and we're going to put a good amount on each. And just remember, we've got 1 bowl of pea puree here, but we want to split it into 2 halves like that. And onto your toast. I'm just going to use that fork to make sure that I've covered all of the toast, keeping it within the lines. And we've got our tomatoes quartered up. They can be placed on top, and this is your chance to do whatever pattern you want. Do you remember that cheese from earlier? You can just do a little sprinkle over the top. The last little bit of cheese. And I don't know about you, but I can't wait to eat this. And there we go. The taste of summer on a plate. We've used some maths, And this is what we've ended up with. And I'm going to take a big bite of this lovely pea, basil and tomato bruschetta. There's so much flavour there. Don't talk with your mouth open. Yum.